Gotta love it when we move things to new times. This is Lunch and Learn. We typically do this on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, had to make some adjustments from yesterday, so we are doing our charting session. And I do have two streams running. So I've got the live stream, Cedar's live stream, that runs with the 30-minute execution chart. However, if you want to see the live charting that I'm doing, it's going to be on my personal, not the stream account, but my personal account. So you want to run all the way down to voice channel near the bottom and switch that over. And I will post a recording of this video after we're done. So, Thor, how are you? I feel like it's
I'm fine.
been like,
Well, it's actually been a hectic day. My business got broke in today, so
oh no. Oh.
yeah. So we're right. The police are there now. We're trying to figure out how much inventory got stolen. So yeah, it's not a great day, but
Oh.
I have insurance.
Well, that's a good day, right? Everything was in place like it was supposed to, and nobody's hurt, right? Everybody's safe.
No, it happened at night. They broke it
Okay.
through the next door building and then busted a hole through the wall from the other side.
Came through the
They
side.
cut our wires to our cameras and our alarm. So now I'm starting to think it was some sort of an inside job. So I'm looking at that, but that's a whole nother story, and we don't have a lot of time today, so
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay, so let me make sure I'm in the right everything tech goes. Let me open up. So what we do is we try to teach how we're looking. Oh my gosh, all the alarms. Hold on. That's going to happen because we're going to move time, but turn them off. My apologies for that. Things I normally do on Wednesdays in the afternoon are going to have to wait a little bit. So what we do is we take ticker requests inside the Lunch and Learn channel, which is well, it's not a channel. It's a thread off of the Market Talk channel, and we don't look at them ahead of time. Although we have charted some of them ahead of time, and I use a completely different charting framework. But we're looking at them in response to, hey, if we're looking at this chart fresh, or we're thinking about what the levels are, here's what our thoughts are. And Thor and I come from completely different trading backgrounds, but it's kind of uncanny how a lot of the times our levels will be similar, and we do just go back and forth on who's going to cover the first chart. So I am getting into tickers now. If you are already there and you want to start one, I will find out.
I did. I mean, you were postponed there a little bit, so I just went ahead and jumped in because I hate idle airtime.
So is it MSOS?
No, I grabbed SPHR. I did that. I did V really quick, and then I did SPHR.
Okay, so I might be looking at something different from you. So I'm back to.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yep. So that's the first one.
Yeah, let's go to that one
Okay.
because you know what? I went to where I said, hey, sorry, we're canceling this week. So let's go ahead and start with MSOS.
All right, so that is advisor shares on pure US cannabis. I will let you start with that one.
Cannabis. Yep. Everybody knows I love Tilray. You want to start that one, Cedar, or do you?
No, I'll have you start it.
Looking at it offhand, I mean, the first thing I'm thinking is how much I love Tilray. That doesn't mean they're all good.
Right.
But this one here, I don't particularly like it. It looks like it wants to pull back, but it also looks like it's ready to want to do something too. And I don't know if today's move is based on or has something to do with the market overall.
And what time frame are you starting on? I'm in monthly, dropping some levels in, but if you want to talk about time frame and how you're thinking about that.
Oh yeah, I already went from day. I'm already into the day level. Let me go to a week level and see if it gives me a little better. Yeah, weekly looks better. Well, you know, because these have been beaten down so much, and really what we're relying on eventually is the um, United States making it a non-Schedule One drug. Once it's a non-Schedule One drug, they can actually open up bank accounts, and that's what stops a lot of these companies from getting anywhere. In fact, Tilray doesn't have anything open in the United States other than um, alcoholic beverages. So when it does finally get, you know, legalized on a federal level, so to speak, Tilray will already be. I'm talking about Tilray, but I'm actually, because I know Tilray, but
Oh,
it pretty much
it's
has
the
everything to do
industry,
with
right?
the
And that's the relevance.
industry.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, you know, Tilray is buying all these alcohol distributors, so that when they actually are able to come full steam in the United States, they already have a full-fledged distribution setup already in place. Meanwhile, they're also making money on those distribution centers that they're building out with the craft breweries and some of the other breweries that they're buying, distilleries. That said, I think we're still waiting to see what happens on a Fed level. And, you know, looking at this, I mean, if I was wanting to buy this one here, I'd wait for it to break on 9 and hold. And I would wait for that. I'd really wait a while on the 9 as well. I wouldn't just get in because it broke 9 and bounced. I'd want to see it sit on it a little bit before I'd buy into it. The chart doesn't look too bad on a weekly. On a daily, it looks like it wants to pull back, but also looks like it wants to maybe go too.
So
So
I
that's,
dropped a 852 on the monthly, and then on the weekly a 901, which is just above where we are right now, and that's based on volume levels. Where usually you like this kind of chart more than I do. I like this chart. I would buy it on a pullback. I'm probably not putting this in my long-term portfolio, just to be clear. However, this chart on a pullback back test of we've got a downtrend. So first anchor point, December 5th, 2022. Ooh. Second one is September 11th, 2023. I really like the range between 805 and 852. If we hold on a weekly at that 901, I could probably take this as a swing. It looks like it has potential. There's my alarms. It looks like it has potential to 1181 pretty easily from a volume perspective in trading range all the way back from May of 2022. And above that, I've got 1385. And this is, I do volume-based support and resistance. I don't do candles-based necessarily, although when I drop that line in based on volume, the week that hits is August 29th, 2022. So I really like that. I'll actually be watching this a little bit closer.
yeah, actually listening to you've convinced me even more. I like your analysis of it as well. To me, the 9, you have 901. Well, I say 9, I just mean above 9. So we're in the same ballpark. I agree. But, and actually, when I said I'd wait for it to hold above 9 for a little bit, and what I mean by that is like Cedar says, I would swing it. Exactly.
And one of the important things to remember as far as charting is even though I've got a 1 point, and I'm sure you're using that, but 1 point means it's a very small focal point. But I'm thinking of this as a very like a highlighter, a thick highlighter. So it's in that range. So if Thor says 9 and I say $9.01, I'm like, oh. And so that's one of the things that's nice about us going back and forth is I'm charting, I'm dropping things in, but it's my chart while Thor is talking about it. I'm not adding it after, and he's not adding his after mine. We're trying to give that feedback, and there seems to be a lot of confluence. So, really enjoying that part.
Yeah, a lot of times Cedar and I don't see things exactly the same, and she may like something more than I do, and I might like something more than she does. Um, but generally, we're pretty close on what we think. she may have different price points than I do. She goes back a little bit farther than I do. She also uses a few more indicators than I do. I really like to look at a bare chart. In fact, what I'm looking at right now is there's nothing on it. I didn't even draw a trend line on it. All I'm looking at is volume and price points on it, and that's it.
So I
So
use
it's kind of cool.
I use
Same
the
number.
volume. So even though like I use more indicators, I'm using volume profile and moving averages, which are trailing, but they're still volume based. And that's where I think we see so many similarities is it's still volume based. It's not something fancy. I just try to represent on my charts what we're seeing so that rather than it just being this pie in the sky, like, oh, you'll learn it eventually after you watch price action for this long, so that somebody can see what the representation is rather than it just being, you know, all the indicators you possibly can. So Tesla is the next one. And I have a bunch, I've charted Tesla for these for a year probably. So I've got a bunch of levels, bunch of volume based items. I have not readjusted this chart. So what I'm going to do is go in, because I know Thor is not a fan of Tesla in general. There's usually the Tesla response. So I'm going to go in and we don't plan this. I'm just taking the next ticker that's up there that's been posted in it. I'm going to adjust my levels based on what I have here already. I'm going to flip out to the monthly. For me, monthly is purple on any of my charts. So waiting for a render.
You know, really quick, it's not that I don't like Tesla.
Oh no, I know.
It's been in a downtrend since October 2021. It's a 2-year downtrend, and nothing's changed on that. So for me, every
Right.
chance I can call a short on it, I do because it's still in a downtrend.
And
Overall, I
and you
like
can
the
see that
company. I
when
think
you're
it's
looking at the stream, you can see the downtrend. And I planted that. I don't do historical charting from the perspective of, oh, you know, would you have known about this? I'll just plant it from my second attachment point is Friday, April 1st, 2022. And we've been following that all the way through.
yeah. Yeah, I think Tesla's a great company. People are calling it a car company, but Tesla is far
Oh,
from a
it's
car company.
it is a
That's,
technology company
yeah,
for sure. So what I look at, and I'm thinking, you know, I thought I was going to adjust some of these levels on the monthly. I don't see anything I'm going to adjust from what I've already put out repeatedly in the channel as far as levels. Underneath us, we have the 207.60. We have earnings this afternoon. So is it a gamble right now? Yes. Did we break underneath? If I look at attachment points on the uptrend from Tuesday, January 3rd out into Monday, January 3rd, 2023 to October 2nd, 2023. We're actually below that. So we are currently breaking underneath a symmetrical triangle. But when we come into earnings on a company like Tesla, I take that with a grain of salt. So I'm not adjusting any of the lines that I had other than we have added some volume at the 214 level that was not visible here prior, or that line would be there. I'm going to change it to purple. So I use purple on the monthly. Oh man. I need to look at all my alarms before we move a time like this. Okay, so flip out to weekly. See if there's anything that's changed. So on weekly, the level that we're sitting right now is actually a little more high volume than I expected it to be, the 209. I have a level at 207.60. But charting something that's right before earnings, especially something like Tesla, is a little more complicated. So if we looked at it from a pure levels perspective, if I wanted to just drop from a candles perspective, 207.60, even if I weren't looking at lines. So the way to do that on TradingView is to change and turn off all the actual support and resistance lines you've drawn. Then I'm going to take this line over here, really catches my eye, which is 207.78. And then I'm going to find that candle body in the weekly. We'll call it 207.5. So I'll post this chart, but that was, yeah.
My thinking on it right now is I don't really, the only thing I'll say on it is because, ER, why even chart it right now?
Right.
There's no reason to. I mean, there's nothing really that can be said until after it actually the ER hits, because, Tesla's really volatile. Anything I say right now could mean nothing. But I will say this, if the earnings come out kind of mediocre and it doesn't move the stock like any certain direction one way or another, I'd watch for it to break the 220 area. When are the earnings?
Oh, they're this afternoon at close or after close.
Oh,
Yeah. So, I mean,
yeah,
this
okay,
is as far as we've sold down, it's very important that you're not like shorted into the hole, because you don't know what people's response to the earnings are going to be, or what traders' response, or what institutions or commercials' response are going to be.
Yeah, well, the retail traders, they make the mistake of looking at the actual ER instead of the guidance. Guidance is everything. ER, normally a stock has already got the price built in because people already know. Guidance is what you got to watch for. And a lot of people read they beat and they beat. Well, that doesn't mean anything.
Right. It's when Elon
what's the
starts talking
guidance?
later, and then what's the actual guidance. Exactly.
That's right. That's what you really got to watch for. So my thinking on Tesla trading it after ER is see what the actual numbers are and what the actual reaction is, and if it's kind of a sideways action on pricing, I'd look for 220 to break. If it doesn't break 220, it's a short again. If it gets over 220, the next spot above that is all the way up until you get to. It's not working. All the way up to 250, 260 area. So there's a big area there. The 260 is up where that 2-year downtrend line is right now. So I'd look at the 220, see what happens there based on what kind of ER they have, and decide if you want to short it or if you want to go long on it. But the 220 is the spot that I'd look on kind of iffy guidance and iffy ER. I'd short it at 220. If it gets over 220, I'd cover that put.
And that actually, so the 220 is actually back inside that symmetrical triangle I was talking about. So levels above
Right,
there,
exactly.
I've got 225, 228, and then overhead targets, I'll go back to weekly. $234 catches my eye bigger than anything else, and it's on the daily, but $234 if we bounce from here.
Peter, we got about 5 more minutes. Today went by kind of fast because I got some things I really got to do today. So
All right, so Roblox. What are your thoughts on Roblox?
RBLX. Yeah, I was just going to say maybe we can switch through a couple of these really quick so that we can get some of the
Yeah.
other people that made their requests. But let's do RBLX. Wow, that's a cool looking chart.
Yep.
I actually like it as a short. Well, you go out to a weekly. It looks like it's bullish, but it's not there yet. It's a ways away from doing any kind of breakout. To me, would be, above 46 somewhere. You go to a daily, and it looks like it's bumping its head like right at 40, 42. It looks like every time it bumps its head, it wants to pull back. I'd watch those. And the other thing, yesterday's candle, the candle reject, those are normally bearish because, it rejected a higher price and fell back pretty hard. To me, it's got to get above 42 and hold to have any chance to go up. If it doesn't hold above 42, it looks like it's going to fall back again. Also, the trend line from back to September 22, 25, broke a little bit ago, and that may be part of the reason why. Um,
So I
let me
almost
post
see
this.
that as a breakout retest on the monthly, and I'm looking at monthly right now.
I didn't even look at the monthly. Do you think monthly is bullish?
It is. We've got a week left in the month, but yeah, we've got a breakout retest. So we would set our alerts based on that. And I posted that chart just a second ago. But yeah, I am not a fan of Roblox at all, just because of the whole meme kind of concept. However, even on the weekly, that trend line, which trend line is August 8th, 2022, next attachment point is April 3rd, 2023. And we're back over that with a little bit of selling above it. But it looks to me like it's worth watching. And like I said, I'm not personally a fan of Roblox at all because it falls in that meme category. But this chart it's reasonable to me. It's
I
definitely
like it.
worth watching.
It's kind of an easy read, actually. And if you look at the chart I just posted, you can see why I'm thinking over 42 is bullish and under 42 is not, based on the trend line that I drew back to September. And the fact that it consolidated there for a little bit, just in that 42 range, and then fell off. That could have been because of I don't know why it fell off. I'd have to go back and look and see what kind of news they had there. But it did fall off right when it broke the trend line under. So, that's what I'd be watching for. If 42 over is long, under 42 is puts. And Cedar's talking about the monthly and weekly that I looked at looks bullish. So maybe longer term, it's a bullish chart.
And that
Short
means
term,
we have to be looking at the actual candle closes on the weekly. And that's where it gets confusing when we're talking about these levels, is it has to be on the close of those candles and then confirmation. So if we're trading on a weekly time frame, and I know some people who don't trade on any time frame less than a month, which for me is unreasonable. I'm like, a monthly close? Are you kidding me? But those are size traders. Those are people who are trading very large accounts, and they're maybe going to make 2 or 3 trades a year, and they're massive. But we have to be thinking about context. It's not a daily close if you're looking at it on a weekly chart. It's a weekly close if you're looking at it on a weekly chart. It's a monthly close, and vice versa. If it's a 4-hour chart, if it's a 1-hour chart. And that's where the scaling is actually pretty amazing. Next one's PayPal. I know these are all from the same person. However, I think PayPal is very relevant right now. I have that in my long term.
which one is that?
PayPal.
PayPal.
So
I looked at that the other
So yeah,
day. I wanted
PayPal
to
on the
buy it.
weekly for me was a buy, like not even just buy, put it in your account a while ago. 61.77 is the weekly level that really for me held. Once we recaptured it, I'll just be watching
What
that.
happened today? Do you know, Cedar, what happened today?
I don't. I actually haven't even looked at the daily. I'm just on the weekly right now. No, that just looks
For
like
long
normal.
term, I buy it right here.
Yeah, it looks like normal price action, but for me, anywhere above that 61.81 is buy it, put it in there, and you'll be very happy in 5, 6, 7, 10 years, 40 years. Pass it to your grandkids.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking. I'm thinking that right now this is a gift. This pullback today. I just don't understand why it happened. I would look into that first and see why we had the pullback that we did.
Well, I
after it
think
broke out.
did we just finish our financials earnings? That would be my first thought, is maybe this was something that some of the size traders put together as it's financials earnings season, and then exited positions that they were in. My guess would be, looking at the volume, probably somewhere near 51, 52, 53, and even that 54 perspective. It looks like profit taking to me, which would be reasonable. It's just not the profit taking I would be looking for. I'm going to add one more trend line on the daily. That is not what I'm after.
If you're a PayPal buyer, this is the one. you're a long-term investor in PayPal and you're looking to get in, now's your chance.
Right. And you're not doing it at long term. So there's a difference between long term
Yeah.
and swing trade and day trade, and then day trade with options, swing trade with options. So there are different relevances. We're just trying to look at what the levels are in general.
Yeah, I'm a long-term looker on PayPal. Normally, I'm not. I buy a lot of shares and a lot of stocks. I don't call a lot of options. I call breakout on actual stocks themselves, and I decide then whether I'm going to buy options or whether I'm going to buy shares. It just depends on what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm a buyer of shares at PayPal.
All right. So Sweet and Sassy put PLD, STAG, MMM, and VZ. So I've looked a lot at 3M, a lot at Verizon, long-term shares. I'm going to, just for the sake of time, I'm going to have
What are we
you.
doing? Because I'll do one more and then I got it right.
Yep. So if you want to just take like 10 seconds, which is how we operate, we try to narrate through what we're doing with each chart. However, if you take a couple seconds and choose out of those four, which one you're most interested. So if you had to like lightning round, choose one of those four for long-term shares.
Oh, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to glance at each one.
Yep, that's exactly. And then why you chose that one, I think would be the best
I'm
thing.
not even going to run trend lines, or I'm just going to look at the chart.
Yep.
And I'm going to give a quick summary, and that's it. PLD, I try it, bounce right here. If it gets any lower, I'd get out.
Yeah, so I'm a not touch PLD, just looking at the weekly chart.
This one I wouldn't touch right now.
Yep, no,
Looks kinda
that's
like
almost
this.
exactly the same. It's literally like a rehash. So on to the next. And this is, so I know you guys that have listened to us for a while talking about all the technical pieces, we go into it in more detail, and I know sometimes that takes more time. But now, as a lightning round perspective, that's our honest feedback. And if you wanted to learn more about that, you can go back into some of the other videos or ask those questions, and we can definitely go into more detail. What's the next one? MMM.
Well, really quick, just something. This is how I look at charts, anyways.
Yeah.
I scan them that quick, as fast as I just did those other two. That's how I normally do them, anyways. I look at them closer if I like them. The next one is MMM. I would try and buy it here at 93.
Yep, it's a breakout back
like
test.
That's what I would do with this one. You, Cedar?
Yeah, it's a breakout back test here, and I'm on the weekly. Then we can go. I like this one better than the other two, hands down. This is a buy right here, and you can put your stops long term under weekly close under like 85.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good recommendation. 94 is support right now, but you can try and see if they try to stop you out by going a little lower. But to me, 94 is support. It's right there. So it's this one's a good one to try. Next one is VZ.
I'm posting the chart on Triple M.
One second. I'd wait for VZ to break above 43 and jump on board. If it doesn't get above 43, it's going to fall back. And that was four stock lightning round.
All right, let me draw. This one has me a little, I want to look at this one a little closer. The other three were pretty easy. I'm going to draw a trend line from April 18th, 2022, second attachment. I feel like this one is already broken up. Broken out, broken somewhere. On the weekly, we're rejecting on the 200 moving average, which is 42.39. Wow, this thing gapped. Oh, this was an earnings gap. Okay. So based on that, 38.77 would be a dip buy. So any between 38.77, and if we just go from candle structure, let's round it to 40. Let's see if there's anything else. Me and TradingView are apparently not friends right now. Okay, so trend line I just drew actually confirms that. It takes us right into that 40-ish range, and I'll round it from 38.50 to 40 as a dip buy. Yeah, all right. 3M is the winner out of those four for me.
Yeah, I like 3M. VZ, I for a super long term over 43, I'd buy the MMM on that pullback there. It's like a perfect spot. It's bouncing right off where it's supposed to, and yeah, I agree. And that's it for me, guys. I got to run. Cedar, it was fun as always, and you guys, if you next week, hopefully we'll be back on schedule. And hopefully we can take a little bit longer. I want to try.
Well, and
try to
there's
do
no
these.
more holidays. There's no more, I mean, you know, aside from random break-ins to a business. Luckily, I don't have a brick and mortar other than a shop, but no more break-ins, no more holidays is the plan into at least May, right? We'll be here every week, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Other than our normal busy life stuff.
Well, yeah, there's the
Yeah.
occasional doctor appointment, but we do try to be here every week. So even if you miss it, the recaps are posted in my YouTube channel, and I also post the links inside the Lunch and Learns. All right, I've got all my charts updated. I will catch you soon.
All right, Cedar, we'll be talking. I just today I don't have any extra time because of this crap that happened. So
Yep.
thank God for insurance and nobody got hurt. And if it's the worst thing that happens to me today, it's a good day.
Right? I mean, that's the great thing. So when we had the break in, I think it was 4 months to get our glass, and it was a unusual piece of glass, but it was a long time. And of course, that was during supply chain issues. So hopefully, it's not quite that long now that things are a little more mellow.
Okay, talk later. Thanks, everybody.